How do you pursue your purpose when you feel it will add stress or anxiety to your life? Take it away, Kasey.
Gosh, yeah, Timothy, thank you for that. I mean, I think everything we've been talking about, first of all, is just to try and carve away that stress and that anxiety, because the enemy wants you riddled with that stuff. He wants you to just sit around and be like, like that's what he does. The Bible says the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But Jesus says, but I've come that they may have life, and life to the full. And so, yeah, Timothy, I mean, the first thing I would want to say is ask why you're feeling anxiety around purpose. Is it because, like me in the guitar example, you feel like it has to be perfect? And if so, you might want to ask, is that really the truth about the God of the gospel? I can say on paper, oh yeah, I believe in a God of grace. I believe that if I know Jesus, he forgives me, and I have nothing to prove, and I can live in the freedom and the truth of the gospel. But I can then actually say that, but live my life as though God is constantly looking over my shoulder, disappointed at me. And I just want to tell you, bro, if that's you, then you're not actually worshiping the God of the Bible as he's told us he's like in the Bible. Jesus says, cast your anxieties on him because he cares for you. Man, God's not looking at you upset. If you know Jesus, God's looking at you like you're his precious child, and he knows you feel anxiety. He's not surprised by it. So that'd be the first one. If you're worried, if the anxiety is coming from like, I'm not nailing it, I'm not doing it perfectly, I want you to be able to be free of that, because none of us are. Okay? So get rid of that. And then the second thing I would just say is, when you're thinking about purpose, it becomes in that way a fun question of like, man, what do I like to do? That's like a fun expression of the way God is and he made us. So just to give you some categories for this, when we look at God, so human beings are meant to be made in the image of God, which means we're just like God on a little miniature scale, right? He made us that way to reflect him. And so if we want to know what people are meant to do, we need to look at what God does. And we need to think about, how can I reflect that? So what does God do? Genesis 1:1, God creates. God invents. God organizes. He divides the land from the ocean, and the trees from the grass, and the mammals from the reptiles, and he delights in it. Man, God fights for justice. God sees something that's going wrong in the world, and he says, not on my watch. God extends mercy to us. He forgives. He loves. He presses in. He invests in relationship. God created human beings as men and women and children, right? So that we could have these relationships, so those relationships matter to him. I mean, when you start thinking along those lines, Timothy, purpose becomes an adventure that's just pure and free. And it might be scary, but only in the best way. Only like getting on a huge roller coaster for the first time is scary. Like, you know, your eternal salvation is secure, man. So like, just enjoy the ride. Like, if you're like me, you enjoy roller coasters. Daniel, I don't know if you like roller coasters.
Terrify me. They absolutely terrify me.
Bro, let's go. We just got to go on a roller coaster someday then. Okay. Promise me, Daniel.
I promise.
Yes. All right. If you don't like roller coasters, anyone listening, obviously now has to, but if you don't like roller coasters, don't feel pressure. But yeah, purpose is like that. It should be a fun, expression of our freedom in worshiping God, right? And there's a million ways we can do that. There's not just one, like, my purpose, like, this is my lane. Actually, just let him speak to you, and then just be faithful in the things he's called you to do. Be faithful in a little thing, and watch as he builds that appropriate to your strengths and your giftings. He'll build and slowly give you more responsibility, but it'll feel right. It'll feel at the appropriate level. Don't worry about you in 50 years. You don't know what's going to happen to you in 50 years. I don't either. So just trust God, actually trust him, and enjoy living out the life that he's called us to live.
Thanks so much, Kasey.